Hi, my name is Koku with blackfilm.com, and I am here with Tichina Arnold, whom we all know from Martin. Everybody Hates Chris. She got done hosting the Soul Train Awards. I mean, what don't you do? But we're here to talk about something really exciting, and it's your directorial debut, which you're doing with the BET Her Presents the Waiting Room series, in which you direct Oh Baby Baby. Thank you
Yes.
for joining me.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited to speak to you because before we even begin, there's a couple things I want to ask you. First of all, I want to tell you I am just beyond like words to be able to speak to you in person and to just be able to have, because you are the person that I grew up with and saw as the person that looked like me. I
Oh,
have a dark skinned role model, and just all throughout my life, you've always played these iconic roles, always hilarious, always strong, always stood on your own. So it's like, just for that, thank you for being that person.
oh, thank
Yes,
you.
because
Thank
of
you.
you, I have somebody to look up to. But
Oh,
it's not just me. This is the question that has been on my mind for years. It is my understanding that you are this huge, huge superstar in Brazil for the same reason.
so you did your homework a little bit.
I be trying.
It's crazy to know that. Like it's being in this industry for so long, it wasn't until, like in my 30s where I realized like it's a huge responsibility, I
Mm,
have a lot of young women that look like me, act like me, that are looking up to me and looking
mhm,
up to me in a sense, not that I'm better than them, but they see themselves through me. And that's when it became a responsibility as well. So it's something that I put in high regard. I love, it's
mhm,
being an entertainer is my ministry, and it's how I allow my talents, my gifts to be shared. And I think it's important that we share them. And by
yeah.
me being able to share my talents and gifts, and to my reward is exactly what you're talking about, that you see yourself in me, and that we're special, we're great,
Yes.
we're
Hmm.
fantastic, we're beautiful, we're
Hmm.
everything.
Hmm. And I just, especially when I saw, I was looking at the footage of people talking about you in the role, and the way they were describing Rochelle, and they're just like, she's so strong, she's a warrior, she loves her family, and they're doing it in Portuguese, but they're my
That's
husband
great.
got two jobs. Yeah. Then I saw you out there. They were out there like, I mean, the president was in town. And you
It's great. When I went there, I could not believe it. I went there for Carnival one year, and then
hmm.
literally I was on the float. They asked me to sing, so I was singing "No Woman, No Cry,"
Hmm.
because that was the only thing that the musicians knew that was
Hmm.
English. And literally, I looked out, and it was just a sea of people as far as you could see. Say
Hmm.
Rochelle, Rochelle. I was like, wow. I was like, te amo, te amo, te amo. That's the only thing I know is te amo. Because Portuguese is a very hard language to learn, but
Yeah, it is.
it's just so humbling and so
Hmm.
rewarding to see people be just feel so good, and
Hmm.
that was just great feeling.
And then I know you just brought up singing, and I wanted to bring that up too. And you sing so well, and you've got that voice. And I've
Thank
always wondered why. I've heard you sing. We've all heard you sing a bunch of times, but why haven't you lent it so much to your roles as much?
Well, my roles, like, I don't ever bring it up. Like,
Hmm.
Martin liked for me to sing a lot. He was like, "Yeah, Tichina, you can sing on this part." I'm like, again. You know what it is? I think because singing was the first gift that I realized
Mm,
God gave me. I just hold it in a different place. It's not the same as my acting, only because the singing was my first ministry.
mhm,
And starting off in church, I just put singing in a different place in my heart. So, which is why I never became a recording artist. I
yeah.
thought it was because I never gave it 200% of my time. I realized latter years in life is that I just don't like the music industry. I don't
Mm,
like it. I don't
mhm,
care for it. I don't like what it does to individuals. I don't like
mhm.
what it does to music. I just don't like it.
No, that's great. You've been able to control your own path in that way. But I also think to relate to what you're saying, I think when you hold something so close and it's something that you, like you said, it's your first ministry, something that you knew you were good at, and it's powerful. You don't want to like give it away to people that, and I don't want to say don't deserve it, but for like an industry like that where they may not necessarily just treat you the way that they should treat you, then yeah, then it's okay to sing when you feel like it or when it's right. So
Yeah, because
yeah,
it's like trying to keep you. You got to do it this way because
yeah.
this is what they want now. Well, who is they? And, you know what I mean? It's
Right, right.
like, shouldn't it just come out and should not be who I am within it? So, when you got into all the semantics and how the music industry runs, I just didn't like how the music industry conducted itself, and I still don't.
I feel you.
Change, but yeah.
Especially when you come from the church, it's somebody trying to tell you how to sing something. It's like, okay. But I want to talk about Oh Baby Baby though, because again, this is your directorial debut, and you've been able to sustain a career in front of the camera very comfortably, always working something that's just. I think you've always got a project every year. You're one of those people who, by the grace of God, you work. So what told you that it was time to direct something, and why this particular series?
I'm happy that you asked that question that way. What told me that it was time? Because that's what I just follow my spirit, my gut, my intuition. And then I move. And for the longest time, another reason too is my sister has been praying for me to direct for years now. So the opportunity had presented itself, and this opportunity, I was like, you know what? I'm ready. It was just that simple. It was like, okay, because now I'm older, I have a lot more experience in life. It's not so much an experience in show business, but I have more of an experience in life. So I'm able to convey somebody else's story. Now, even though I am not a breast cancer survivor, even though I've never been diagnosed with cancer, even though I've never used IVF treatments, I thought this situation was a great time for me to do my directorial debut because of the content. We finally get to tell our own stories. So here you have a series of stories that were actually written by the women who went through it. So now I'm like, I've been, saying all these years, we need to tell our own stories. We need to tell our own stories. And now I have a situation where women are telling their own stories, and I get to touch it direct.
No, I love that. And then I've actually talked to Tress Azrael Smallwood before, and she's such a delight. And that was one of the amazing person. And she feels very strongly about the series, and she feels very strongly about making sure that Black women are at the helm every step of the way. And that's why I'm just like, she's so dope. So yeah, I love
her whole team. They say it starts from the head and then it trickles on down. And her whole team loves her. They are great people. Everybody made me feel so comfortable. It was just amazing. My first directorial debut experience. I'm happy that it was spent with them.
Right. What better environment, especially somebody like Tressa. And do you? I mean, I know now. I'm not sure. Like I don't know if you still get nervous sometimes when you're taking on a role, depending on what you have to do. But did you feel kind of nervous like a newbie because this was a different type of experience?
Actually, because I was ready to do it, I know I was never nervous.
No?
That's why I just said, I'm going to direct.
Yeah.
It's time. I don't know when that time is going to happen, but I'll know when it's there, when the situation presents itself. And it happened. And because I allowed that process to happen, I wasn't nervous because it wasn't anything premature. It was something that I was ready to do. When I'm ready to do it, there's no fear.
And I'm hearing you say that, like, when things are timed, this is what I want to do. So you're somebody that operates with great intention, then. So this is how you. That's your mode.
Most definitely, because we have to be very deliberate with what we do, and we also, I tell people all the time, you cannot operate in fear. It's okay to be afraid, but don't operate in it. You got to be able to deal with the fear, so the fear doesn't deal with you. And because I was just ready, I was ready, because you go in with I don't want to do anything with trepidation. I want to go full on, even not knowing everything about it, but I have enough confidence to get through it. And it was great. Really, really great experience.
I'll tell you what I liked about the story. What I liked about it is that it's a very difficult situation for her that she's having to go through, but it also speaks to the ability to love and to find happiness in ways that you may not have necessarily imagined. And that's really, really important, because a lot of times we're so down on ourselves that we don't think about the possibilities and what life can give us that can mean a blessing in a whole different way. So that's what I got out of it.
Most definitely. Even when my daughter went through, her teenage moments where oh well, mom, everything is wrong, nothing good is right, And I told her, I said, listen, you're not the only person that's going through this. There are millions of little girls right now that are feeling the same way you feel. So sometimes we got to understand that we're not just the only persons that are going through that. You're not alone. Like, everybody has their issues, but you got to get through it. You got to persevere, get through it as best as you can.
I could tell you be in the church. some people got away. It'd be like, okay, that's a sermon right there.
Well, look, let my mother tell it, because I haven't been inside the church in so long. My bishop is still looking for me.
They're gonna push you on stage. Okay, now Miss Tichina gonna do a solo again.
No, oh my God. Lord, I was doing Tuesday night service, Wednesday night service, Friday night service, Sunday, YPWW. Like, it's just a lot. But that all of those things are still a part of me, and I'm very proud that those things are still a part of me. They don't leave you. It doesn't leave you.
Did you go to revivals and Vacation Bible School too? I went.
Girl, I directed the choir. I played the drums. I did everything.
What y'all need, okay?
Okay, we did it all. But it was great training ground. Great training.
No, it is. It's great. No, I think church is like your first, like, kind of like outside of your family, like your immediate family, like your first social circle outside of your immediate family.
Yeah.
And so you had and there's gonna be situations where it's like you might get that solo that somebody else wanted, and it's like, yo, this was all in the name of Jesus, but you're feeling some type of way.
And, there's a lot of stuff that goes on inside that church because it's its own community.
It is, yes.
So, but after I went through that whole church phase, that my ministry drew me out of the church to the world, and that's why entertainment is my ministry. Actually, there was a minister that came to our church years ago, and I remember being a little girl, and he made me stand up, and he made everybody point at me, and I was like, oh my God. But he said, y'all leave Tichina alone. She's going to minister to millions.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, after church, I was told my mother, I was like, I don't want to be a preacher. I'm thinking it was
like the literal. That's not what he meant.
I was sitting on my couch in my apartment years ago, and I was like, oh, that's what he meant.
That was the message. Yeah.
Television.
Yeah.
I'm like shown to millions of people through this box.
So now with you, you are famous in a different way, in different decades, different times. What do you think people mostly know you from? Or does it just depend on the person?
Martin, for some reason, because my era, in the 90s, that's my era. Martin was the first and only of its kind. So in the 90s, there were so many new births of just like, New Jack Swing, all of the Black community, we as, Black people, we were doing it. We were creative. There was new things.
The fashion was right.
Yeah. And so to be able to go through that time, now you have people who still watch it.
Yeah.
And their kids watch it. So I literally have 4 generations of people that watch Martin. It's the craziest thing.
I love to go back and watch Martin and see, like, it still holds up. It still holds up to me.
Crazy.
And the funniest thing about Martin that no other show gets on the level that Martin does is that sometimes that you guys crack each other up so much that the bloopers, like when you catch those, y'all just can't hold it in. To me, that is amazing. It's actually one of the better things of the show is catching, like, they got them too, and y'all knew the script.
That's what we loved about it. And I grew up watching, the Carol Burnett show. I every night I'm just glued to the TV. I watched All in the Family, the Jeffersons. I loved all of it because it just became, that's what, a lot of those shows just inspired me, and I learned a lot from those shows. But, when we got on Martin, it was just, we all had a competition with each other. Who's going to laugh first? And of course, Tommy always lost. We're like, Tommy, you don't even try not to laugh, man. Like, come on, man. But we used to try to one up each other. So the Martin show just came from a real place. It literally from a real place. And of course, Martin being a comedic genius,
Yeah.
once those cameras start rolling,
Mm-hmm.
just had to learn to stick with him. When he moves, you move.
You just move too. So yeah, that's a good learning experience. But you went to LaGuardia.
Yes.
That's a big deal. The alumni.
LaGuardia. And I went to the original school when it was music and art. It turned into LaGuardia. But it was music and art before that. And the great training ground. I actually was on the path of going to Juilliard.
I was going to, I wanted to ask you that. I wondered about that. Yeah, I can see it.
They asked me to be a part of the Chamber Singers, which is very prestigious to be a part of. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to go to California.
So wait, hold on. When you went to LaGuardia, you majored in music?
Yes, I was majored in music and part of the gospel chorus.
Isn't that something though?
Yes. My god brother Victor Cook, he ran that music department in the gospel chorus, and I miss that schools don't have that anymore. I remember going to school, we call it the Castle on the Hill, and literally as we're walking up the steps to come to the school, because we had to walk up Mount Morris Park, like they had there was a Mount Morris Park, not Mount Morris. I forgot the name of the park, but literally you got to walk. It was a long walk up the hill. Then you get to the top of the mountain and there's a school. But as we're walking, you can hear music playing.
Oh, wow.
It's just, we're long gone are the days.
A lot of arts programs are completely removed.
Took it out.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad.
Yeah, because people aren't even learning. Like my what I thought was my ministry for like 3 months was alto sax in 4th grade, and I was like, this ain't for me. I'm not.
Wow,
it's too heavy. I was just trying. I was a little bit. I was like,
how you gonna hold up the alto?
I just thought it was cool. I like challenges, so I was just trying to like, what's the most ridiculous instrument I could play right now?
Hilarious.
No, so
I tried the cello. I was like, yeah, because I didn't want the violin. I was like, because I love the bass. So I was like, well, if I had to pick, I'll just pick the cello.
I ended up picking up guitar and piano to some extent, but I ain't out here Jimi Hendrix. So don't let me. I could play good enough to play it off. Like I can do the chords, and you'll be like, oh, okay, she can do that. No, it's like 8 chords in my repertoire. Don't even.
Yeah. And even outside of music, they took away shop.
Yeah, yes.
All the people don't realize these
home ec.
It's just it kind of dumbed everybody down a little bit. It's unfortunate. So hopefully, we could get back to a place, but. After the pandemic, I told my daughter, I was like, yeah, you won't be seeing the inside of a school until you decide to go to college.
Yeah. No, because it's just because it's right now it's so uncertain too. Like you said, it's kind of a general studies thing, but there's no real pathway. So it's kind of hard unless you go to an extremely specialized school. Because I do not have children, but I do have children in my life, kids, cousins and little kids, but everybody's trying to figure it out. I'm just like, I don't even know what y'all are doing. I can't even tell you that I have advice for this environment because I never had to sit in front of this, and that was my classroom.
Yes.
A work call.
Well, at this point, all we could do is be, actual living responsibility, forms of responsibility for the young people that are behind us,
But I see them. I see them restless though. Like they want to do something, and they're like, it's like, people don't even want to, like, I mean, I'm not saying people don't want remote jobs. Working remotely has this different reward as an adult, but seeing a little kid or even a teenager having to sit in front of a computer all day and not get to interact with anybody, I don't think that, that wasn't our childhood.
Not at all. Not at all. But, you just good. We could look for new opportunities. And I think there will be a lot of new opportunities because since technology is moving so fast.
That's true.
We got to find the good through the bad.
Well, listen here. This is what I've heard from people in Hollywood. They say that one of the benefits that has come from even this situation with the remote, the conversations and things like that, is you guys get to do remote self-tapes. So sometimes you ain't got to, What do you think about that?
I hate self-tape.
You don't like it?
Because it's just, I'm not a techie kind of person, but it does give you more time to present yourself, so you're not under the gun with a time time. So if you get another shot, so now instead of you walking into a room having one shot, you you get to give yourself the shot and pick which tape you like.
Yeah.
And so now you could curate your own audition. So that's the good side of it.
But you'd rather be in person and get it done that way. Mm-hmm. I've always wondered what made you move to Hollywood when you already had a career in New York, because some people also know you as a child star.
I was doing this show called the Buddy Holly Story Tour. So I went from doing soap operas to doing the Buddy Holly Story Tour. And it was a nice tour. We went a lot of places, but I just got so bored. I was so bored. And I was making about $1,500 a week, doing, 8 shows a week. And it wasn't hard, it wasn't hard. It was an easy role. And I just asked myself, I said, Tichina, if you go to California for new opportunities, because I kept saying, I want to do nighttime. I want to do nighttime, meaning sitcoms. I was like, I want to do nighttime. And I asked myself, if I go to California and I don't get work, will I regret going to California? And when I answered no, I was on the next thing smoking.
And it all worked out.
It was timing. It was time.
No, you believe in yourself clearly, and that's great. And especially since I have to bring it up again, it's not like there were a lot of people that looked like you or me or us at that time. So you just knew that it was, regardless of what, I'm going to do what I have to do. So I think that you doing that, somebody got it.
Like light-skinned, curly-haired women were getting all the roles. Like they were getting the main roles. Like I was always getting, the best friend. So it's like, okay, I don't care about being the star, but I want to get good roles. I want to get so. There was times where they really typecasted us, but even with being on Martin, a lot of people, later on, was like, oh, well, there was colorism on Martin because why he had to crack on the dark skinned girl? And I'm like, no, it never came from that place. It was never from that place.
Let me tell you something that's so interesting about that, because these are conversations that go on and on endlessly online, and I'm always in them, right? There are like think pieces for days, and I'm like, but you know what's so interesting about Martin? The point of Martin, the kind of the wackiness of it all, is that Pam was never actually ugly. No one ever really thinks that. So when you go through and you look at that, people be like, yo, Pam was bad, So it's like that's kind of the funny part of why it was so crazy, because it was just. It was the silliness of the ribbing. Yeah.
Well, she's the best friend. See, back then we used to crack on each other. I tell people all the time, I was like, listen, the role of Pam was originally for a heavyset girl. So when I read the script for my audition, it was all fat girl jokes. I was cracking on. I was like, well, okay, but I'm thin. Now, back then I was skinny. So I was like, when I got the role, Martin didn't realize that I knew how to crack that. So that relationship and that dynamic between me and Martin, that really happened off camera. Like we would go at it. So they started incorporating that into the script. So it came from a real place. It came from a loving place. So this new generation doesn't really understand that whole the Joan.
That's what we did. Yeah, Joan and stuff.
Yeah. So it's all good. It's all good.
It made it hardened us in some ways, but it also just made us prepare for anything. Like it's really nothing. There's nothing anybody could say to me that is going to break me down. Yeah, because I got
tough it up.
I learned it from watching you. No, but I know you have to go. I thank you so much for your time. Thank you for such a excellent conversation. Thank you for asking me my questions about Brazil.
I just love it. I can't wait to go back to Brazil because the love that they have given me is just amount of love. And I appreciate Brazil because Brazil is actually going through now what America went through back then. There's a real big problem with colorism in Brazil. Which is why a lot of black people, it's over 200 million black people in Brazil,
and people don't see themselves on television, right? And
it's not many television stations. So Rochelle was one of the first black characters that they could identify with and relate to. So I'm very humbled.
And we're all so grateful for that, and for all of your success, and for all of the things that you continue to do. I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Once again, my name is Koku with blackfilm.com, and I'm here with Tichina Arnold. She's making her directorial debut on the BET Her Presents The Waiting Room series, and it's Oh Baby Baby. The episode is on Saturday, October 8th. which happens to be my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday. So you're a Libra.
Yes, I'm a Libra. Thank you. I said, Tichina made my day so many times.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You keep going, sis.
Thank you. You too, and continue to inspire just the same way that you do. I mean, I've learned so much from you, and then now I'm getting to talk to you. This is a dream come true for me, and I mean that so sincerely. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'm gonna always do my best. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm gonna try to get some church solos in.
Listen, you gotta start playing. Look, pick that 10-0 sax.
Let my little 10-year-old self see what it do. Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Thank you so much. Take care.
God bless you.
God bless you too.
Right.
If you want to see more content like this on blackfilm.com, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell.